Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another round of executive interviews at TA Tech 2023. I'm Anthony with Writesea. We are super excited to be interviewing this individual. This is actually a friend of ours outside of TA Tech, Mr. Sloane Barbour from Engin. How are you, brother?
What's up, Anthony? I'm doing great. How are you?
Awesome, man. It's always good to see you.
You as well.
Definitely enjoyed our podcast that we had back in Los Angeles.
It was a great one, man. Really appreciate you taking the time, and it was great to see you in LA.
Of course. And so today we're here at TA Tech, online recruitment marketing conference, and Engin's here for to meet new people, make deals, make things happen. But tell everybody, who you are, what your role is, and what Engin is.
Absolutely. So Engin is the recruitment marketing platform for the industries of the future. So we build technology that operates as both a full suite recruitment marketing platform with integrations with all the major players as well as a lot of niche players. And then we also have a lightweight ATS and CRM that can be used by small to medium-sized businesses who specifically need to hire for people with sort of unique, novel, and growing skill sets.
Nice. And you guys, I know are heavily in the cannabis industry.
Right.
You guys are like one of the leading job boards in the cannabis industry. Right. What got you started? What made you want to start this technology? Because weren't you working for Flower Hire prior, and then even before then? I've been in the
recruiting space, recruiting agencies, executive search, as well as running sales for a fairly large marketplace called Hire.com that focused on tech workers.
Okay.
And after about 12 years of traditional recruiting and technology, I wanted to make a change. I met up with a buddy in the cannabis industry who was running the leading executive search firm that does six-figure, job placement, real premium, amazing service, a company called Flower Hire. Mr. Dave Belsky. And very quickly after joining there, I was chief revenue officer. I recognized an opportunity that cannabis companies in particular, which is a regulated, emerging, highly stratified industry that requires very unique skills across retail, agriculture, logistics, and corporate, which is a large swath of skill sets, was having a really hard time making the high volume of qualified hires they needed to make and getting people onboarded through a process and then helping those people grow careers. A lot of opacity, a lot of challenges, and recognize an opportunity that I also see sort of happening across a lot of industries, especially with modern AI tech attacking certain job types and likely to disrupt sort of the labor force in a very significant way over the next 10 years. We think this notion of helping companies and individuals hire for the future is a really important problem to solve.
That's a great point. And, leading to my next question, what are some of the things that maybe you're most excited about over the next year or so with our industry as a whole in terms of recruitment, as well as like some of the challenges that you might be seeing?
Yeah, so I think having a focus on an emerging industry like cannabis, and we also are gearing up to expand into several other sort of similar style industries that are on a pace to really change and transform like what it is that people's roles are in a job. We've seen an opportunity, and I've talked to several people here, around this notion of transferable skills, reskilling, upskilling, and we developed our core technology to take that into account using sort of a psychometrics element and a profile building element that's very advanced. And
it gives you a fit score, right?
It gives the user a fit score. It helps them navigate to what job they'd be a best fit for. About 70 to 80% of people who are applying to cannabis jobs have never worked in cannabis.
Okay.
And
that's interesting.
Including, there are certainly folks coming from the legacy market, but they still have a skills gap with the regulated elements of operating a dispensary versus operating a illicit delivery service, right?
Good point.
So you want to make sure everyone can be included, and then you want to make sure whatever their skills gaps are, they identify. But what we really identified is this notion of a transferable strength instead of just transferable skills. Like, where can you be best, make an incredible high impact, and also what will be the most rewarding to you based on what your goals and objectives are and what your natural personality characteristics are. So this is trying to help solve the problem that 55% of people who work in hourly jobs wouldn't wish their job on their worst enemy. That's a quote from a Forbes survey.
Oh, wow.
And so sort of helping people find jobs that actually fit, they're excited about, in exciting new industries that are going to have a career path for them, we think is going to help hopefully trickle down a lot of good sort of overall happiness in people's lives since they spend so much time at their job.
That's a wonderful point. What are some key takeaways that you've gotten so far here at TA Tech with some of the speakers?
So TA Tech so far has been great. It's incredible to meet folks from every major job board, whether it's ZipRecruiter or Appcast, and also these niche and global job boards all over the place. And given that we run what is now the largest job board in cannabis, which is careersincannabis.com, hearing from other folks how their job boards have evolved so rapidly over the last 2 to 3 years, and they expect that pace of change to only accelerate. How people interact with a job listing, how they identify and discover that, some of the cool stuff people are doing with TikTok and integrating into modern video experiences with a something that compels someone to understand visually. And you know this as a creative and a producer. When someone sees someone doing a job, whether you're inside a cultivation facility, you're interacting in a retail setting, it really helps make it real. And someone can help picture themselves in that role.
100%.
And so the notion of some of the video that is not necessarily video interviewing, but more so video discovery.
Yeah,
of
video
the employer,
displaying.
visual display of the employer's culture, of the job, and having this in these quick hit 15-second TikTok videos. That basically doesn't exist for job search really at all, right? It's only emerging right now. Yet you think of how big that audience is, that Gen Z audience, and the expectations they have from a job and from an employer are very different than a Gen X worker.
100%. Everything is moving towards video, and with Gen Zers and some of the new people that are starting to get jobs now at these young ages, we want to see, and they want to see what the culture is like in these companies, and how do you do that in just a job post?
Well, it's
right?
Job postings and job listings and job descriptions are inherently broken. They have been for decades. Having been a recruiter for a long time and having been guilty of this myself, posting and reposting and just modifying slightly and copy of a job description, such a major issue. And you can already see how large language models and generative AI can do something as simple as job listing optimization and even job listing alteration that helps create a story and a narrative or a summary of that job to that specific user based on their own desires and interests. Because what is compelling to you about a bud tender job at Ascend Wellness may not be the same thing that's compelling to me, even if we're equally qualified to do that job and would be a great fit.
Point made.
But I might be really interested in the scientific elements of how I can discuss with medical patients the benefits of the cannabis plant, whereas you might be interested in the fact that you get a $3 tip on every time someone buys cannabis, because for you you're more motivated by money, and I might be more motivated by something that's more inherent to the culture or the role and responsibility.
What I could learn to level myself up, whatever.
And so this whole notion of video supporting that employer brand message and that job experience message, while also AI helping each individual, especially hourly workers who don't have a recruiter at their ready, right? No one's calling these folks 3 times a day trying to help prep them for interviews.
Sure.
So how can we provide that to a massive audience? And we think this notion of helping people find their fit in an industry of the future, which about 70% of jobs that will exist by the end of the decade don't exist today. So how do we make sure that as a labor force we can prepare folks, and that as industries we can hire the best people for the job that ultimately end up thriving in their career?
Ooh, I like that. You hear that? 70%.
It might be 80%. I don't know. I could just be making it up, but let's just say it's somewhere around 70.
Well, you heard it there, everyone. Please let people know where they can find you as well as your company online.
Absolutely. So if you're interested in hiring great talent and you operate in an emerging industry like the regulated cannabis industry, you can find our B2B product at engin.co. Our current job seeker product is careersincannabis.com. It's the largest job board in the cannabis industry, thousands of active jobs for cannabis job seekers. Hundreds of companies use it to hire their staff. And we're very happy to support that industry as it continues to grow. And you can check that out at careersincannabis.com, where you can apply to jobs and post a job and learn more about how we're building the talent infrastructure for the emerging industries of the future.
I love it. It's always great talking with you, Sloane. You're a plethora of knowledge. And we will conclude this interview. Much love, much respect. Thank you for joining in. We are Writesea, and we're here at TA Tech 2023. Peace and love, everyone.